last time I spoke to you was for Red Sparrow, and I do remember having a conversation with you about your naked torture. So talking about torture, at least you get to wear a sweatsuit this time.
Yeah.
A wetsuit.
Yeah.
That's what I meant.
They were sweaty.
Sweatsuit, yeah. Sorry, it's the chest hair. It's got me all
So
flustered.
much, isn't it? I got tangled in it earlier.
It's all makeup. I actually have no chest hair, but I thought it'd be good to look a little manly if I'm going to be next to Tom.
Of course.
You know what I mean?
So obviously, there's a lot of water, and you spend a lot of time underwater in this film. I mean, did you at any point think, why the hell am I doing this?
Never, actually. I could make a joke here, but it would be a bad joke, because all my jokes are bad. I just was excited about the challenge of that. It was almost like the opportunity to be involved in this story, and particularly to play the characters that we're playing, or for my part, knowing that I get to play Harry in this film with Ron, like everything about it felt like one of those jobs, like unless I read the script and for some reason it's like diabolically bad, I really hope that it's great because I really want to be involved.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those stories that the reason it resonates with so many people is that it's so many people being amazing human beings, and I think the opportunity to be 1% of an amazing human being was so humbling when we were doing it that even when it was really scary and things, you think, but this is a real story, and we've got some of the real guys who actually did that here with us. We even had, like, Jason got in the pool a lot. You know, he was in there with us, going through the caves with us, teaching us how to sort of move and how he would navigate. And I remember him telling me something about my torch, at what point sort of turn it up and down. So anytime you think, God, I'm so scared, I don't know if I can do this, you're just reminded that it was a true story and that we're very blessed to be part of telling that.
And at the end of the day, we're all a little bit better looking underwater, I think. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Underwater does something good to us all.
Yeah.
I'm saying nothing. You're a bit claustrophobic as well, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Yes, that's because I was on the press conference for the trailer and I heard you say that.
Yeah.
So, there's obviously a lot of cave scenes in there, and there's one scene where you panic when you're rescuing one of the boys. How much was that you acting, or how much was that you in real life?
There was, I did scuba dive. I'd never done cave diving, but I did scuba dive before. And I remember when I was reading with Ron for the role, I could kind of relate to that moment of having a sort of freak out. I did have one of those when I was scuba diving in Hawaii. But we all felt very, very safe. But those caves were terrifying to be in. They were really, really tight. Even if it wasn't sort of too small, the stalactites, you get sort of bits of gear caught on there. My regulator got pulled out of my mouth a few times, as it did with a few people. So it was pretty scary. No acting required, really, a lot of that time. Yeah.
Okay, and there was a lot of things that come up in the film that I didn't realise, like how they got the boys out, the process and stuff like that. How much did you learn from that story?
There's a lot of the details about the execution of the rescue that I wasn't aware of in that initial period in 2018 when we were all glued to the television watching each day. Certain things were kept out of the press because of, how controversial they were. It wasn't until I got involved with the project I started to learn details, particularly about Dr. Harry's involvement. Just blew my mind. Not only that, the idea was floated that the politics, the community of people that had to agree upon that as a plan, and that plan, once it was executed, was 100% successful with the boys and the coach. Staggering. It's part of the cool thing about people who think they know this story to then come and watch the film, and it's quite shocking. It's like a threading the eye of a needle, high wire act kind of situation. Unbelievable.
My anxiety levels were up here for that whole film.
Good.
Really high. So it does its job.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you're playing real life characters as well. Did you guys spend any time with them?
Yeah, we didn't spend any physical time. Well, I didn't with Chris. Actually, last night at the premiere was the first time I met the physical Chris, but I got to Zoom with him a lot, and we WhatsApped every day and emailed a lot. But we got Rick and Jason were on every day, basically, which was just so amazing to just have them as part of it,
Yeah.
One last question for you, actually. Sometimes I forget that you're actually Australian because you're obviously always putting on an American accent, and here you get to use your Australian accent. Does that feel quite
Did I have
freeing?
any coaching?
Yeah, did you have?
So what was your question?
So was that quite freeing for you to actually finally be able to use your own voice?
Yeah, every now and then I'm reminded that, to me accents are always a bit of like I see them as a bit of a costume. Something to hide behind, and it feels less exposing. And for some reason, the times where I work on Australian projects or getting play in Australian, I'm like, oh yeah, this just sort of feels a little bit more exposing in a way. But I was sort of excited to be able to, particularly because it was Harry. And I remember my introduction when I come out of the car and I see, Rick, when I see Viggo, I just felt this real urge to be as Australian as I could possibly. There were certain takes where I'm like, that's way too far.
Too Australian.
Mate.
I wasn't going to say I noticed that, but I didn't.
I couldn't understand myself in a couple of scenes. Too late to do ADR.
Yeah, it's not that. Well, thank you very much for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you, guys.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey You Guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yeah.
Nice.
Hey, you guys!